Okay, so Kalim, how are you? How is life going?
I'm well, Sharat. How are you?
Yes, fine. Life is going on, but
Other than the fact that it was the hottest day in Karachi, it was 43 degrees centigrade.
oh my God,
So
it's
it
quite
was
hot.
very, very hot today.
What is the average temperature in Karachi?
Average temperature hovers around, I would say, at 36, 35 in June, July. That's the peak time of summer.
Mm,
But these days are rare. So 43 degrees centigrade is quite a lot. It's quite a number of people are getting affected by the heat stroke, and
mm.
there are a lot of safety measures. The circulation is going out from the government that these are the measures that you need to take care of. You need to keep yourself hydrated all the time, and that's how people are coping up with it.
Okay, Kalim. So let us start the interview. So right now you are working for National Bank of Pakistan, right?
Uh, till March, I was working for the National Bank of Pakistan.
Mm,
From March onwards, I have got two offers. You know, there was Ramzan in between. I have got two
mm.
offers, one from the banking industry and one from another industry, that is oil and gas. Right now, I'm deliberating over it as to which option to take.
Because I was going through your CV and I was just got astonished seeing your achievement within this short period of your careers. You have already achieved uh, CHRP, right? And you
I
have
have done CHRP, I have done CIPD, which was the part of my degree program from the London School of Economics and Political Science.
Mhm.
It was CIPD was along with that particular degree program.
Okay, so currently you are the head of talent management and in the National Bank of Pakistan. So I have seen. So
Uh, that's that's right. I was the head of talent management, and now I have got two offers in my hand. One from the banking sector, that is of the head of HR, and the other one is from oil and gas sector, that is for the senior human resource business partner. Again, I'm deliberating over it, which one to go for.
okay, so what's talent management and how do you manage talent?
Talent management actually starts with the HR planning part. What is the business strategy? What are the resource requirement? Precisely speaking, what are the talent requirement for a particular business or a particular organization, and where you would find that particular talent? How is that talent would be able to achieve the organizational objectives? Uh, that comes into strategic HR talent management. As you go on, you go into talent acquisition, which is if you are talking about hiring people at the grassroots level, most of the organizations they are they are preferring to have a badge of fresh candidate with fresh pair of eyes with fresh thinking, and that's how especially in the banking sector, when they are hiring at the grassroots level, they are going for the badge hiring. The other part is the lateral hiring. Lateral hiring is the hiring, lateral talent acquisition is based on people who have got experienced. I have gone to the level of N-1. When I'm saying N-1, I'm talking about the CEO -1. So I have been involved, since this is my shop, I have been involved in talent acquisition of people who are at the group head level. Since I am from the banking, I would name few. That is the uh, group chief for risk management, group chief for information technology and innovation, group chief for legal, and these are that's the talent acquisition part. It's strategies involved in it, it's execution involved in it. That's the talent acquisition. And then when you go into it, talent management, that's the most of the organizations in Pakistan, which we call the progressive organization, they are using 9box in order to identify their high potential employees and how to manage that talent in order to identify that what are their needs in terms of their retention, what are their needs in terms of their learning. And through 9box they identify, they plan their training, they plan their retention strategies, and the most important first part, which is the performance management of these high potential individuals. So that's the talent management, I would say, altogether, which includes the talent management and the talent acquisition.
Okay, that's great. So, can you describe a successful hiring process, and which are your main points to focus?
Can you please repeat the second part of your question? I got what you asked about a good hiring process.
Mhm.
And the second part was?
Which are your main points to focus when
All
hiring a
right, all
successful?
right. See, since the market is becoming very, very competitive, I
Mhm.
would say the linchpin of a good hiring process would be that you hire it's not a problem to actually identify if it revolves around employer brand.
Mhm.
So if my recruitment, if I have to go for example, if I have to hire a particular badge, my hiring process should be transparent. It should be clear to the incumbents, to the potential candidate. It should be appealing enough. It should be appealing enough for people who are the right hires for my organization. For example, I'll give you a particular real-time example that when we are hiring from uh, the top-notch universities, that is in Pakistan, that is the LUMS or IBA. If I'll target those universities for my trainee officer badge,
Mhm.
uh, then I'm making a mistake. I'm actually targeting a wrong target market for my badge hiring. My a good recruitment process would target the real audience, out of which you will make a good selection process. It should be transparent. It should be appealing enough. Your employer brand should be as good as your competitors, or it should supersede. I mean, it's all. Uh, and then recruitment, my focus has always been to look, make it give a wow factor to the people who are, because in lateral or I would say batch hiring, mm, the people who are coming in, they are your brand ambassadors. So you have to make their experience so good that they would talk about your organization as being the employer of first choice. My last three experiences that I have got in Mizan Bank and Silk Bank, then in National Bank, all the organization in Pakistan are striving to be the employer of first choice. But there is a big difference when the execution comes into place. Mizan Bank is actually making every step right in terms of recruitment policies and the points that they need to focus. Other two organizations, I would say they don't have that clear vision about making themselves as the employer of first choice. So my recruitment process, again, briefing on your, trying to wrap up on the crux of a good recruitment process is a clear job description, a clear target market where you want to go and pick up individuals or a group of individuals that you want to hire. And again, at the end of the day, when you end up selecting people, it's very, very important that your onboarding process is a good one.
Okay, great. So, how do you measure recruitment effectiveness? What is your
Time
strategy?
to hire. Uh, That is an interesting question. I would like to answer it from a practical viewpoint.
Of course.
One thing that is the HR matrix is time to hire. That is normally 2 months, 2.5 months from the point of requisition raised by the business.
Mhm.
But one thing is the HR matrix. The second thing that I tried to implement in my last organization, which was still in the implementation phase, was the effectiveness of the hire. I mean, last year for example, we say last year we hired some 1,200 people, and out of those 1,200 people, my HR matrix has been that what percentage of that 1,200 fall in the outstanding category of their rating, what percentage has fallen in the excellent category, so that actually tells you what the how good you are with identifying the organizational fit for your organization. So that is one matrix that prior, or I say primitively, we used to measure the effectiveness or was the time to hire. This is the second matrix that I have introduced in my organization. That is your past would tell you that what your hiring effectiveness and what measures you need to take in order to maximize the number who are in these categories, who are better performers, or steps you are taking to performance improvement plan, how many people are inducted in the performance improvement plan. These are the factors which are much more in practice these days.
Okay, so one of your job responsibility is succession management. Is obviously
That's
succession
right.
is an important function. So, in which ways do you think building a succession plan can benefit company culture?
Sorry, please come again.
My question is, in which ways do you think building a succession plan can benefit company culture?
Can base the company culture.
Can benefit company culture.
All right. I'm actually, I'm not able to understand the question, but I would rephrase it. You would say, you are asking what are the ways of doing the succession planning that would fit the organizational culture. Is that the question?
No. My question is, in which ways do you think building a succession plan can benefit company culture?
All right. So, yes, I'm sorry I was not able to get the question because the primary thing, Shahadat, I would say that the succession plan that would benefit the company culture, it has to be a buy-in from the top management, number one. The second thing, the ways that's the number one. I would say it's not a way, but it's a prerequisite of any succession plan that has to be implemented. The ways that would benefit the organizational culture, it would depend on the organizational culture. For example, if the organization is operating with a collaborative company culture, with open policies, with the success has always been kept as very confidential, but there are few organizations which are not keeping it that confidential. Rather, they are adopting a different way in which they are opening it up to the people who are the contenders and let them compete for that. So, in my viewpoint, if a collaborative culture is there, a 9-box model is one of the tools that can be one of the ways where you can identify successors for the different levels. Since we are from the banking sector and we are under the regulation from the State Bank of Pakistan, which is the regulator, to have a succession plan for tier 3, at least tier 3. So what we do have a succession plan based on the hypos, and before finalizing the succession plan, we do a calibration activity in which one is the head of HR that is present, one is the line manager who is present, and one is the subject matter expert who is invited from outside the organization in order to have a neutral view. And the outcome of that particular succession plan is to have a ready now, uh, uh, 2 to 3 years and 3 to 5 years successor of that particular position. Uh, that is when there is a more collaborative approach. Now, since your question is regarding benefiting the organizational culture,
Mhm.
I think that collaborative organizational culture is always better than something which is more authoritarian or a unilateral approach of succession plan. So whenever I would be asked to take a way for succession planning, I would go for that collaborative approach.
Okay, thank you so much. So, being a head of talent management, what do you think? What is your most toughest challenge?
There were two, I would say, there were two different challenges of different natures. For example, if I would go back to 2015, my toughest challenge was because if you know a little about Mizan Bank, it is the fastest growing bank in Pakistan. It's Islamic bank. Uh, in 2015, when I took over as the head of talent management,
Mhm.
the challenge was to induct some roughly 2,700 people in a year's time. And that was in support of the strategic objective of opening 125 branches in a year. And that was a very big challenge because at that point in time, quite a number of banks were fighting for the right resources, fresh resources at the cash officers level to the other, to the level of the branch managers. And we actually focused in the first year for building the brand image. Again, as I said in the starting, the brand image is very important for any HR department to be built, and then everything would fall in the right place. So in the first year, we worked on it very aggressively on building our brand through our presence in the market, through our policy formulations, to making our policies competitive and attractive to the potential employees while remaining commercially viable at the same time. So that was a big challenge. We did it. And thanks to Almighty that we did it for consecutive 3 years. It was 2015, 16, and 17 that we hired 3,000 plus employees in each year. And those hiring, again, that particular matrix of the success rate of your hiring, that is how many people are performing outstanding, how many people are extending, those statistics were coming out as very healthy. So that was the challenge number one. Challenge number two, in terms of my recent role, that is the head of talent management with National Bank.
Mhm.
Again, it was very difficult, I would say, reason being that National Bank of Pakistan is a public sector bank and it has a lot of regulation imposed on it for the talent access. Talent acquisition is not easy for National Bank because people who are used to with the competitive, fast-paced banking industry, National Bank is not the employer of choice for them. So it
Mhm.
was very difficult, and the board changed, and they have decided that they would like to change the top tier, starting from the president to the group chiefs and to their divisional heads. And at the end of the day, we end up hiring 633 people. Most of them were at the top level. That is in the last year, that is 2020-21. And but in my previous experience, those were mostly badge hirings, and in my last experience, these were the lateral hirings. And I ended up adopting different strategies for lateral hiring since I had the experience of Mizan banks. I'm very active on social media. I employed every channel I was available with to seek the best talent from the market, and we ended up changing the. I guess I have told you earlier that the risk head was changed, legal head was changed, IT head was changed, uh, even HR head was changed, and there were a lot of divisional heads who were hired. So these are the different sort of challenges. Talent acquisition. There is a list of challenges. I think I can go on for half an hour. For example, there were Mizan Bank had a very, um, uh, I would say, very out of ordinary location of their head office uh, in Karachi, and that was denting the employer brand at a certain point of time. But again, we countered it with the pick and drop facility for our people, and as I said, that we focused a lot on the employer brand, resulting in Mizan Bank being awarded the best place to work by Engage Consulting in 2016, 17, and 18. So these are the different talent management challenges I had. On the other side, that is the performance management. I remember that while implementing the balanced scorecard, since it was new to the organization, and people were not used to it, they were used to management by objectives and setting the KPIs, and they're not particular quadrant. They were not introduced to particular quadrant of learning, financials, and they had very simple management objectives, and they were rated at the end of the year by it. But when balanced scorecard came in, people had a lot of reservations on it. uh, so we invited Alan Fell from France, and he gave a briefing that was replicated by me to the senior management and to the middle management in order to get the buy-in for that particular method to be adopted for performance management. And I remember that was a very tough call. That was a very daunting task to get buy-in and then getting the implementation done. Uh, it was later on mandated by the regulator as a must thing, but we made it applicable. We implemented it prior to it. So as a part of the management decision to have a more objective performance management, we did it. It was a difficult task from the talent management point of view, but we did it.
Okay, so my question is, what techniques for attracting new talent have you found the most effective based on your previous experience?
Talent acquisition you are talking about? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
My question was, what techniques for attracting new talent have you found the most effective in your previous
Shahadat, actually, I would say if it's about the badge hiring, uh, the technique that I have adopted and I have asked my team to go in was the university outreach program, or I would say that I have also always encouraged my organization uh, to undertake some corporate social responsibility targeted towards the institutes which are particularly our target audience. So yes, we did that in order to we built an auditorium in quite a number of universities under the banner of the organization. And as we used to launch our badges, we used to send our teams to the organization for giving an awareness session about the particular role that was coming up. Example being the personal banking officer. candidate, the fresh graduates were given a complete brief about the organization, and an out of the box thing was to establish a hotline where people can call up and clear any confusion that they have. As far as our lateral hiring would concern, I would say that these are mainly because of your you know people who are sitting in the market at what position. For example, there are 21 banks in Pakistan, and my particular, since I'm an HR person, I do have a knack about knack for interaction. I do get to talk to people a lot. I know people who are sitting in the market. I do know how they are performing. So when we are laterally hiring, I I basically ask my people to go hunt through LinkedIn, hunt through their personal contacts. Unfortunately, we are not hiring people from international market.
Mhm.
So that is, but yes, when I was hiring for National Bank of Pakistan, we hired quite a lot of people from Pakistani origin who were working outside Pakistan. Some people from World Bank, some people from Asian Development Bank. They joined National Bank of Pakistan, and I approached them on LinkedIn. So for lateral hiring, I would say it's your personal outreach and LinkedIn, and for badge hiring, I would say it's basically building your image, going with your team, going into the universities, conducting sessions, create a personal brand for that particular position which you are going out for. So these are the two most effective strategies.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is a very common question, I must say. So have you ever faced conflict between hiring manager about the recruitment process?
A lot of times. A lot of times, the hiring manager would want everything to move very fast. Uh, they want the person to be on the seat without giving due consideration to the process that we need to undertake. But again, as the HR head, or since I have remained as HR head as well,
Mm.
being the HR head or the talent head, it's my responsibility to actually be tactful with these business leaders or the hiring manager. Uh, that I need to make my point without making them my enemy. I need to make them understand, and thankfully, I would say that everybody I came across, they were sane enough to give due consideration to what my point of view is, and at times I do uh, a commercial call as well, because I'm not being the head of HR only. I have to wear different cap of the leadership cap of the organization as well, where I have to give due consideration to their concerns as well. And at times I do take commercial calls as well, where I see that the risk I am taking is a calculated risk.
Okay, Khalid, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining this interview. So, you know, this is a preliminary session. So, your every answers will be reviewed. And once you're shortlisted in this round, then you'll be contacted for the second round of the interview. Okay, so and that
Thank you
will be
very
the
much,
final.
Adat. It's a pleasure connecting. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalid. Thank you so much. Stay safe.
All right.
Take care.
You too. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.